Alabama defensive tackle Tim Keenan is the latest in what it looks like an injury crisis for Alabama. Let's talk about this impact of his injury going into the game against Florida State, and more importantly for the Tide's pivotal season where they're trying to get back to the college football playoff, if not win the SEC championship. And they could have done with having their veteran defensive tackle. What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. If this is your first time watching Adapt and Respond, thank you for joining us here. We talk college football. We talk football year round. If you're into that, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, like this video, and answer the question in the comments below. Are you worried about Alabama's recent run of injuries heading into week one where they're going to play Florida State? Tim Keenan is out for this game and probably out for some time. Tim Keenan, who has played a lot of football and is an anchor on that Alabama defensive front, or was going into this year. Last year, he had his most productive season, 40 tackles, 7.5 tackles for loss, 2.5 sacks. Really outstanding player. And you really would love to have as many defensive tackles as you possibly can at any point in your season, because that is the one position that I don't think the good Lord has made enough of to satisfy the needs that we have for playing football. Because every time you look at an Alabama team or a Georgia team or a Texas team, for that matter, teams that are going to make the college football playoff, one of the first things that you look at is just how good they are up the middle. I mean, Georgia has been dominant in this way because they've had guys like Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis. And the same is true of Bama when Nick Saban was there. He had a tremendous eye for talent and what could be done at the defensive tackle position. And he built a lot of his defenses, that huge 3-4, using what he had available to him in that space. And I'm really fascinated by what it is that we're going to see from Bama, not just from against Florida State, but in the SEC as they go into what I think is going to be a make or break season for how people feel about Kalen DeBoer. He brought in Ryan Grubb, offensive coordinator he had at Washington when Michael Penix Jr. threw for over 4,600 yards, and they made the national championship game. We expect that he's going to be in a good spot with Ty Simpson, who looks the part and has been committed and been a part of Bama basically since 2022. One of the guys that stuck it out. I mean, we're talking about Jalen Milroe, Tyler Buckner, Dylan Longerton. We keep going. Julian Sayin, guys that have been committed or signed to Alabama that just haven't got an opportunity to play. Eli Holstein, for instance. But Keenan is really, I mean, it's just disappointing. And one of the reasons that I think it's disappointing is Jam Miller's already out with a dislocated collarbone, right? To say nothing of Jaden Roberts, who's also out with, goodness me, concussion protocol. Like, that was, if you're a Bama fan and you are hitting the panic button, I understand. I honestly believe that you're going to be okay, but it's just not what you want. You're a 13.5-point favorite going into this game against Florida State. I don't think many people expect Florida State to test you. Tommy Castellanos probably has a lot to answer for, according to the Bama defense. I'm sure Tim Keenan was looking at every opportunity to try to get at that guy. But now we're going to find out just how deep the roster is. And if they've done the job I think they have done, it's deep. Because the thing that Kalen DeBoer has going for him that he didn't have last year isn't that people are getting used to Nick Saban being gone, or even people are saying the right things and that this is Coach DeBoer's team and this is his program and we're doing things his way, or that he's returning a bunch of veterans that we know are good, right? Damani Jackson comes to mind. Deontay Lawson comes to mind. I think Cole Adams can be better. He's going to catch the football. He's going to be pretty decent. You got Ryan Williams over there, which is a cheat code. When you're in third and got to have it, you know where the ball is going to go. When you need to get back in the game, you know where the ball is going to go. Isaiah Horton ought to be the beneficiary of that as well. But more than anything else, he didn't have a whole bunch of guys just leave to the transfer portal for nothing because Nick Saban retired. That happened only once, right? Which means that they got to go through an entire offseason where they got to pick out the guys that they need to get out of high school and in the portal, bring them in, acclimate them, and then set up to go make a run at this thing. They won 9 games last year. They probably should have won 10, right? If you are thinking about how they played against Tennessee, how they played against Vanderbilt, Oklahoma, or even Michigan, you see where I'm going with this. But this is a Bama team that started out fast last year anyway. They started 4-0. People forget that, right? And the schedule that they have is not dissimilar to the one that they had last year. And this time, they get Oklahoma, for instance, coming to them. And I'm not so sure that that game is going to 100% go to the Tide, but I honestly think that this is a better Oklahoma team than it is an Alabama team. But that's going to prove even more true if you're not healthy enough to play the game with your best players and have to go into the well, right? If you have to go develop some guys quickly, that's not always what you want. It's better for next year, but only if you keep those guys for next year. And we know that in this new era of college football, the team you have today is the only one you can count on. You're probably looking at turning over between 20 and 30 players each and every year now. It is becoming common for us to see 40 transfers in here, 50 transfers in there, depending on what the coaching situation is. The guys that have been able to retain, those are the ones that feel like they're coming up, right? Ohio State was able to retain a lot for its 2024 run. Same thing is true of Michigan in 2023. People don't really leave Georgia like that, and Georgia missed them. Clemson is a sexy pick to win the national championship because their retention is so high. I think that is what you're building at Alabama. And knowing that, you have some defensive tackles that perhaps get an opportunity that otherwise wouldn't. And if you recruit it the way that I think they have, and it seems they have, you're going to have talent. You're going to have the potential to be great. It's getting that on the field experience. And there is no substitute. You need snaps. You need to play. Against Florida State, yeah, you ought to win by 2 touchdowns. And then after the tightrope surgery we think that Tim Keenan is going to have, we'll figure out just when he can come back. And I'm sure that's going to be great. We know that Jam Miller's coming back. So these aren't season-ending injuries. And we've got lots of proof to show that even if they were, Bama might be all right. Look at Texas last year. They had a rash of injuries hit their running back room. They lost their RB1 in CJ Baxter, their RB3 in Christian Clark. They developed a bunch of true freshmen, and they found out that Travion Wisner is that guy, and he rushed 4,000 yards last year. I'm not ready to say that this is going to do Bama in. I am simply going to say it sucks. And while you might be looking at your strength and conditioning coordinator just a little bit, these aren't the same kinds of injuries, right? Bones breaking versus ligaments tearing, different, right? If you get broken bone in practice, it's usually about how we were tackling or how we fell. It's not about how we trained and where the stress is going. I'm saying all this to say, calm down if you are a Bama fan. And if you are kind of looking at Bama going, oh, they might not be that good this year, you might want to calm down on that as well. But again, I'm going to point out for the last time that Tim Keenan being lost is a lot of experience. He's a 5th-year senior, and it's a guy who has been a 2-year starter on your team at a position where it's just difficult to find good substitutes because there just aren't that many big, fast, strong men like that running around. He was not just a strong leader on the field, he was a strong leader off the field. I know it's tight, but I think it's going to be okay.